Hi, I'm Saren.
And I'm Ray.
We're your Spider Baby hosts from To Know Her Is to Fear Her, a Spider-Woman podcast, as well as proud members of the collective.
You're listening to Capes and Lunatics. Gimme, gimme.
Hi, this is Phil, and I'm here to tell you all about the Capes and Lunatics Patreon. Don't miss out on our comic book creator interviews, including our monthly Chichester chats with comic book legend D.G. Chichester, superhero movie brackets in our search for the worst comic book movie of all time, and many, many more specials, all completely uncensored. Access starts for $3 a month, full video when you pledge $5 a month. Check out the link in our show notes or go to patreon.com/capesandlunatics. Hope to see you there.
This is Luca Perich, and you're listening to the Capes and Lunatics podcast.
Recording has started.
Oh!
Just because I'm a guy who wears a pink shirt doesn't mean I'm a guy who'd like to eat a pink donut. Hello, friends. And welcome once again to Superconnectivity. I am your host, Charlie, the Professor Esser. And with me, as always, is the blue-eyed bomber from the Burger Pits.
Phil, me, and Perich.
Hello, Philip.
Hello.
Yes, I'm still in my Halloween costume because we just taped the Halloween episode. Phil had a very simple Halloween costume that was easy to take off. I shaved my head. That doesn't come off.
Well, it came off, but before we got
Well, yes. Doesn't go back on. That's the problem. Got my pink donut. Got my insane written on my hand because I am Homer Simpson from Lisa's birthday, Michael Jackson's roommate. Oh! Anyway, yes. And as I was saying earlier that, Homer, he's known for eating pink donuts. But in this episode, we introduced the pink donut, and he is actually feeling very self-conscious about the pink donut because he says, just because I'm a guy who'd wear a pink shirt doesn't mean I'm the kind of guy who'd eat a pink donut. But then he goes on to eat pink donuts all the time. Exactly. This is how stories evolve. This is how characters evolve. Over years and centuries, how we build lore. And, among the lore that is out there, we have the new Eternals film coming, which is some deep Kirby lore that we're going to be observing. Do you want to talk that, or do you want to talk about some other things first?
No, I don't care.
I have a couple of things. So, you know what? Before we get into the deep Kirby lore,
Okay.
I do want to take a moment to talk about Ms. Marvel.
Oh, yes.
So, as you know, whether or not she's going to be an Inhuman is still up for debate. And I'd like her to be. I'd like that it would be a great way to reintroduce the concept and the characters. But however they're going to do it, they're going to do whatever they're going to do. I'm not in charge of it. I think it's a mistake to make a mistake, as I always say. And I think there are a lot of mistakes that are about to occur with this character. Because they have decided that rather than her infinite shape-shifting powers, her ability to both grow and shrink. Because stretching powers she doesn't have stretching powers. She has mass and physical manipulation powers. She can alter her shape. She can alter her density. She can alter her mass. I will wager she could alter her mass in such a way that she could start flying if another writer decides to do that. Have her start walking through walls because she has that much control over her molecules. It's sort of like the Impossible Man. He is actually infinitely powerful because he controls all of his molecules in the way that Ms. Marvel controls all of her molecules. She is the impossible Ms. Marvel. And I really wish they would more lean into that instead of just thinking of her as having stretchy powers. Because that's not her powers.
No, they're going with some weird energy thing. Almost
they're giving her basically energy projection, and it's not cool. Because first off, it's a huge depowering, and I dislike when they depower characters, when they make them super weak.
Do you think
they're making Yeah.
Do you think they're worried about what it's going to look like in live action? Because, I mean, she's been in animated stuff. She's had her regular powers, video games, I think, too. But now with live action, they're changing it. Do you think they're worried about what that's going to look like?
Then they shouldn't be doing that character if they're that worried about it. Mm-hmm. But the fact of the matter is we've seen really good live action digital animation, you know? I mean, yeah, we're going to probably be getting into some uncanny valleys here, but it's a human actress. Mm-hmm. So her face will always be somewhat human. And, you know, yeah, it might have some weird looks, but honestly, what would it look like if a person could control their molecules in that way?
Yeah.
You know, and the reality is like I said, it is a way for them to depower her, to make her just Green Lantern, and that's the thing that really bugs me about it. It's like, oh, but you know, it looks so stupid. We don't want it to look silly when she's stretching. It's like, yeah, you want it to look as cool as Green Lantern looked. You know? It's like, do you really think these energy constructs make it look better? Because kind of the exact opposite. You know, making her basically a 2-bit purple lantern doesn't really solve your problem. And they're saying her powers are coming from her bracelet. It's like, it's a bunch of unnecessary retcons that kind of hurt the character, and I think it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt whatever they do with her, because they're not willing to embrace who she is. It's going to hurt who she is.
I mean, it's almost like the Shang-Chi thing, where he never had 10 bracelet rings or whatever.
Well, no, but that was merging of interesting things. And the fact of the matter is that there was nothing in Shang-Chi that said he couldn't have mystical items.
True.
They just decided to do a mystical item story. And as we see at the end, he doesn't even keep them. Because it's not about the 10 rings. He doesn't need those. He is Shang-Chi. He is the master of Kung Fu. They're useful if you're going to go fight somebody, but, honestly, in most situations, he'd rather rely on his fists than any kind of magic. Like most, super-powered martial artists, you want to be that power that comes from within, because as we say, the greatest superpower is Kung Fu, because a Kung Fu master can be any other superhero in existence.
Exactly.
Because that's just how it works. That's just how comic books are. If you're a Kung Fu master, you're going to beat the heck out of Galactus, because you're going to karate chop him in the ankle, and he's going to go, "Ow, my ankle!" And you're going to karate chop him in the head, and he's going to go, "Ow, my head! Stop it! It hurts! Why are you hurting me, mortal? I am Galactus." But anyway. So I'm very mad about this, because I really like the character of Kamala Khan. I really like, she's from Jersey. She's a Jersey girl, just like me. And I like so much about the character. I've been following her since her first issue. I've been following her since before her first issue. So I really liked what they were doing with it, and her interaction with the Inhumans. And to just throw all that stuff away, it just seems pointless to me. And I think it's going to hurt the character, because it's important that she be who she is. If she's not who she is, who is she?
Or like I was saying, I mean, eventually we're going to get Fantastic Four. Are they worried about Mr. Fantastic comparisons? Or
no, but again, it's a completely different power set.
I know, but try telling that to some suit who's never read a comic book.
I think that Kevin Feige has read a comic book.
Yeah.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that he knows what these comic books are. And this decision, whether it was made it's a bad decision. It's probably what it is it is a decision that was made because they wanted the character, because the character was popular, but they didn't want to actually have to do her properly.
Yeah. Because
it would cost too much to do her properly. But if you can't do the character properly, don't do that character.
Exactly.
If you say, well, it's going to be too expensive to do in a TV series, then don't do it as a TV series. Just do her in the freaking Marvels movie that you are going to be doing. So you're going to be doing a $100 million Marvels movie. She's going to be 90% CGI anyway.
Yeah.
Why are you sweating this? And why are you making it this stupid Green Lantern power. Because it is a stupid power. I'm sorry. It's just energy constructs. Everyone can do energy constructs. They're not cool anymore, and it's not even like Green Lantern level, because it's not like she's making a Hot Wheels track or an umbrella. She's just putting energy armor around her hands. And it's just like, it's not cool. It's not cool, Phil. That's my honest opinion, is it is not cool.
Is someone, I don't know, in the background trying to do the Marvel version of Stargirl or something? I don't know.
I don't know, but why would you?
I don't know.
That's the thing, is why would you try to take a popular character and then take away everything that's cool about her?
Yeah.
You know? It don't make sense to me, Phil.
I mean... Yeah.
And it makes me mad that there's not more outrage about this. Because this really is about the core of the character. This really is about who is Kamala Khan. And how are we going to represent her on the screen?
Or do they think this power set brings her closer to Carol, maybe? I don't know. I mean, I know Carol doesn't have energy constructs, but do they think it's...
No, I know that was like some of the original thought. Like, oh, because... You know, real Captain Marvel, turns herself into energy. Ms. Marvel, the original Ms. Carol Danvers, shoots energy beams, I guess. I guess that's her power.
Or she can, I think she can, absorb...
Yeah, just give me Monica Rambeau. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh.
Yeah, because she's in it, too. But that's the thing. It's like, they're going to make Monica Rambeau... But here's my thing. If you're going to be that, if you're going to go that route, then maybe you want someone who is a different palette.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you're going to want someone who has a physical power. Maybe you want someone who's a bruiser. Because if nothing else, she's a bruiser. She can be a bruiser. And, just have everyone have the same power set doesn't seem to make sense to me.
But you said Monica Rambeau. Now I'm thinking this construct powers, are they thinking maybe she's like the bridge between, kind of between Carol and Monica, Well,
I'm sure they're doing something along those lines,
yeah.
Like I said, it's a bad idea that will not play well.
And again...
I hope the rest of the story is good, but it's not going to be a Ms. Marvel story. It's going to be this character. This version of this character's story that has nothing to do with who the character is or what her powers are.
And again, after that horrible TV series, are they going to do something where she's not an Inhuman? Is she going to get her powers some other way?
I mean, that's what they're saying, that it's her bracelets, but they actually already introduced the bracelets into it in the comics, which is actually that was actually the suggestion that because they had Inhuman ancestry, that's where these bracelets got passed down. Now, it would be neat if, that's where the Terrigen crystals were.
Whoa. I missed the bracelets part. So the power's coming from her bracelets?
We don't know.
So they're making her Quasar?
Maybe. I don't know.
I mean, come on. It's or Marvel had negabands. Oh my God, is she using negabands?
Maybe they're going to give her negabands.
I mean, because those were Kree things. So I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but Inhumans are Kree things too.
Yeah.
It's like there's nothing about this story that they had to change to integrate her into the Ms. Marvel canon.
But I'm just
they're doing it simply for, and I don't know. I guess when they gave Cloak and Dagger Captain Marvel's origin, and then they gave Monica Rambeau, I guess basically Ultimate Fantastic Four's origin. It's
you know what I'm thinking again with that horrible Inhumans TV series. We're probably never going to hear Inhumans in the MCU again. So they're giving Miss Marvel a different origin, and then this Eternals movie that's coming out. I mean, I bet you years ago this was originally probably planned as an Inhumans movie, but after that TV series, they're like, ugh.
No, because the Inhumans and the Eternals are very different characters.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I mean, that's the thing, is that the Inhumans and the Eternals, they have similarities, but they're actually very, very different. And the Inhumans you know, like whatever they're doing with these Eternals, I'm not quite sure. But I mean, do you want to talk about the Eternals right now?
I don't care. Yeah, it's up to you. Yeah.
I mean, I did read a couple of the original run of Kirby's Eternals, and you know, I will say they don't age well. Because you almost immediately, like, you really shockingly see, oh, everyone's a white dude.
Oh yeah, all these immortals, and they're all white. Yeah. Well, I mean, it seems like they're fixing that for the movie, but yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're fixing it. They're fixing it in the movie. They're correcting it. You know,
all white men and then 2 white women. Yes, yes.
Yeah. It's it's a little weird, but that's okay. But I will say this, and this is the thing that I find most interesting. This is what I'm most interested in seeing when we get to this Eternals movie, is how are they really going to handle the deviants? Because clearly the deviants have culture.
Yes.
Clearly the deviants have a life and a world. And the thing is, once you introduce, these aren't just papier-mâché monsters you punch. Suddenly it becomes a bit more complex. And suddenly the battle between the Eternals and the Deviants becomes more interesting. And I think that's what a lot of times we've done as the stories have grown out from here, is that Deviant is just the basic idea of the Deviant gene. That, you know, these are the ones that are in some way damaged. That, you know, there's the perfect eternal human, and then there's the deviant human, and normal humans are just somewhere in between. Mm-hmm. You know, we can either be the warlike deviants or the ethereal Eternals. But at the same time, you know, the ethereal Eternals, maybe they're not all that great. You know, I mean, that I think is what I think the movie might deal with. Because when you read these, when I was reading these old Kirby comics, you know, that was one thing I really felt was like, I don't think the Eternals are really the good guys here. You know?
I mean, no. I mean, they were literally sitting around doing nothing until the Celestials show up, and then it's just like, oh, the Celestials are here. Better, you know.
Yeah, but it's also sort of like, you know, they are responding to the Celestials, but are the Celestials the gods that they've made them to be?
Yeah.
And I think that's really the point. It's like, you know, these gods aren't the gods you're looking for, you know? These are, in some way or another, rather disturbing monsters that are passing judgments on Earth to the point that I think the deviants are right. Now, for once, I'm going to say the deviants were right. The deviants are right to attack the Celestials, because even if they don't know that the Celestials are going to judge this world poorly, they know that being put in a spot where they are being judged is dangerous.
Yeah, they could wipe out the whole planet. Yeah,
yeah, they aren't so enamored of the idea of, oh, the great Celestials have returned, and I can speak to them. It's like they've returned because they're going to judge humanity. They're going to judge the progress. Is humanity worthy of ascension or worthy of something?
Yeah.
And the real idea here is that humanity maybe doesn't want that ascension. Maybe that's actually kind of scary to humanity, and maybe humanity is going to look at it and say, you know what? We don't need you. We don't need you as Celestials. Maybe you need to get off of our planet. No, they didn't make the planet. The planet was here. Yeah, well, that is what is the idea here, is that essentially Earth had life, and that's why the Celestials came. That the Celestials came because Earth had life, and because Earth had life, they did their little experiments on humanity. But of course, you know, that's the idea, is that, you know, and of course, in those original Kirby comics, they're clearly not meant to be mainstream Marvel Universe, because they have a whole deviant fight in New York and nobody shows up but the Eternals, you know.
Oh, it's so funny. I'm reading this. I got to get through this eventually. The omnibus, mm-hmm. And yeah, they reprint like the letters pages from those originals issues in here, It's pretty cool. And the one letter was like, oh, I guess this isn't set in the Marvel Universe because no Fantastic Four or Avengers showed up. And I forget, they were like, oh yeah, the Fantastic Four were like off planet. The Avengers were coming back from wherever they said they were coming back. They're like, so basically what we're saying is everyone was out of town at that on that day.
As luck would have it.
Yes.
We were otherwise occupied at the time.
Hey, if you're the Deviants or something, if you could find a day where the Fantastic Four and everyone else is out of town, wouldn't that be the day you attack? I mean, it makes sense.
It makes sense.
Look at the Age of Ultron comic book. When did Ultron strike? In the middle of the night when everyone was sleeping.
Yeah, well, of course, and that's how you do.
Yeah. If
you're gonna do that's how you do. But I do find it, I find it an interesting concept. The idea of, and it's interesting, the parallels, because, and I think this is when Jack Kirby created the Inhumans, he was kind of leaning towards. When Jack Kirby and Stan Lee created the Inhumans. Because that's my honest thing on this, is you will never tell me that Stan Lee was not very influential on Jack Kirby's work. I think that when you see Jack Kirby do his own stuff, it is very different than the stuff that Stan Lee liked to write, the stories he told.
The Fourth World, Eternals, yeah.
Exactly, because Fourth World came first, right? The New Gods came first at DC.
I think so, yeah.
Then he left DC and he said, hey, you want to do all that again, but you just do it with Marvel? Like, sure, that sounds fun. You want to repitch the exact same story to us? Yes, I do, sir. Yes, I would very much like to repitch my idea.
I think it was like the intro to this omnibus, who did it? But I think they were saying Jack Kirby was, I guess he was all interested in was there extraterrestrial life and the supernatural and just, stuff like that. So.
Yeah, no, that's a hallmark of his thing. He loved stories about gods.
Oh, yeah.
That's how we get Thor. That's how we get, the entire pantheon, and that influenced other people. When, it's interesting. One of the most interesting things about it, to me, is how Thanos wasn't originally part of this. But once they decided to integrate the Eternals into the Marvel Universe, they retconned Thanos to be a part of that, making his father, was it Kronos, be another group of Eternals.
Yeah, what was it? There was like Eternals on one of the moons of Saturn or something, and there were Eternals. On Titan there's Eternals there too. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, actually, I guess in the original story, it's just, I don't even know if it was the moon of Saturn Titan. I think it was just the planet Titan.
Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, but I know in the original book they were all purple, but Thanos had the wrinkly chin. Because that's how you knew he had the deviant gene, you see. Because deviants always reproduce differently. Like another group of beings we know, the mutants. Mm-hmm. And, as I always say, the reason why mutants are hated is because it's the democratization of superpowers. We can trust a random billionaire, we can trust a super scientist, but if, just a bunch of kids start getting superpowers, now we got to be afraid, because what are we going to do? Because that's that hidden message in Falcon and Winter Soldier, too. Baron Zemo doesn't hate super soldiers because he hates super soldiers. He hates the idea that anyone can just be powerful. If you're not born to being powerful, only those bred better should be barons. If anyone can just get superpowers, then what kind of world are we living in? That's his point,
Oh, yeah.
You gotta read between the lines, Philip.
Oh, I know.
But anyway. But yeah, I do enjoy these books. I do like the idea of the elevation of the Incan society in those first books is kind of interesting. Because the Incans were the ones that no, we're cool. We're cool with the Celestials. And I get the feeling that that's kind of the point, that the Celestials kind of judged the Incan civilization harshly in some way, or humanity harshly in some way at that time, and that's why they all get locked away. That's how it all gets destroyed, expressly because the And this is what the Deviants are trying to tell us. The Deviants are trying to tell us the Celestials aren't our friends. We shouldn't think of them as our friends. We should think about life as the struggle that it is.
Mm-hmm.
And where will we go from there? Yeah.
I just wonder how much in the movie they're going to, I mean, I know we're getting Celestials, but how much Celestials are we going to get? Because, I mean, they really never talk in any appearance they ever make. And it's, you might see them building something or just sometimes they just stand there. Cause like they said in this story and like in other stories, cause I know there was like a Thor story where what is that? Orisium's judging like another world. They're like, oh yeah, they'll stand there for 50 years and make their judgment.
Yeah, and that's because they got to take in all the evidence.
Oh,
Got to see what's going on. Although I always liked the Secret Wars 2 bit where the Beyonder goes to the celestial homeworld, where they just sort of, and it's just a tourist attraction like Niagara Falls.
Yeah.
So all these other alien races came to this world just to look at the giant. See the giant space gods. Get your Iron City beer here, real Earth beer. The finest beer you'll ever drink.
Oh my lord. There we go. In the Thor story, when Thor is able to actually break into the armor of a Celestial, and it's just like crazy weirdness in there, like living things moving around, and like the hammer gets destroyed, but of course by the end of the story it gets put back together. What if the Celestials put the hammer back together?
Oh, that would be fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always, see, that's the and here's the thing, and this is why I maybe shouldn't be so harsh on Ms. Marvel.
Yeah.
Ms. Marvel. It's just because she's a very beloved character to me.
Yeah.
But it's just this idea that, Marvel sometimes does come up with neat new ways to do things.
Yeah.
Because they do have to tell different stories. My only thing with Ms. Marvel is, to tell a different story, do you need to change your powers? And of course, maybe I'm assuming maybe she has these energy powers and embiggening too. Because that's the thing. It's like in the movies we have Ant-Man growing. We have Ant-Man shrinking.
Yeah.
And these are clear, and we've all discussed, everyone's discussed how OP that technically makes Hank Pym and the Ant-Man. That this ability to alter mass is kind of a cosmic level power.
Yeah.
It doesn't get used that much in that way because it's humans using it. But the idea that it is a cosmic level power, I don't think that should ever be shied away from.
Oh, yeah, I think they even did that in the comics. What was that, in the 80s? There was an Iron Man issue where, they explained Hank Pym's powers, they didn't call it the quantum realm, but they were like, yeah, when he grows, he pulls mass from this other, universe and gives himself, and then when he shrinks, he, shunts mass into this universe, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's the same. I think it's the same universe that Bruce Banner pulls his mass from. There's just a universe that's just all mass.
Yeah,
and that's whenever you are pulling this energy or matter from it, it's from this other universe where that's all that exists is mass, energy. Because obviously, if there's one universe that has matter, energy, and space, and these are always going to be in different levels, there's going to be one universe where it's just mass. And one universe where it's just energy. And, to me, that's where that's that pure energy universe, that's the Cyttorak universe.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's just all kinetic energy, and that is where all this excess kinetic energy comes from in the Marvel universe, and, of course, where Cyclops' powers derive.
Don't play that.
Cyclops Sorcerer Supreme. Mark my words. Some nut is going to do it someday where he's going to realize that is the weirdest thing about Cyclops. They're cloning him and they're not fixing the part of his brain that helps him control his powers. Or do they?
No, I don't think they have. Yeah, no, he's still wearing
it would just be if you're going to do a proper clone, then we just make sure you damage that part of his brain in the cloning process.
Yeah, that's weird.
So that he can't control his powers. Super important, okay? We want to be historically accurate. We're not just going to let him just have, infinite power from I-beams after this.
I mean, if you want to do that to anybody, couldn't you give the Beast the ability to shift back and forth between forms, though, too?
Well, that's the thing. It's if you clone the Beast, Shouldn't he just be classic Hank?
Yeah, exactly.
Should he be coming back as Blue Beast? Should he be even one of the later evolved versions of the Beast? Or is it no? Well, our sample was that version of the Beast. So, okay, so that's fine then. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know what they're doing with it. They're doing something. It ain't right, whatever they're doing.
Oh, hey, but this Eternals movie, I wonder, are we going to get the Unimind, where they all merge into, the big, lumpy...
The big brain with eyes?
Yes.
The big cupcake with eyes? It would be interesting if they do.
See how they pull that off.
Again, well, it's comic books. You can do that. And this is my thing, getting back to Ms. Marvel, is we gave Hela the big hat.
Yes.
We've given Loki big hats for a while now. We can do this stuff and really embrace the silliness of comic books. We don't have to try and walk it back. And that's my thing, is I think anytime the writer is saying we need to walk this back, we need to tone this down, that tells me that something's going to go wrong.
Yeah. With
this interpretation, because you should always be pushing that envelope, not pulling back from it.
Well, yeah, that was always the problem for the last couple of decades, is like when, they make these movies and, the movie makers are like, oh, those costumes aren't going to translate to the live action screen. It's like, no, do it.
Well, the thing is what it is, yes, skin-tight spandex doesn't translate well to the screen. Now you have to ask, well, what does translate well to the screen? What would this costume look like in real life if we wanted it to look like it does look like in the comics?
Yeah.
And that's how you get Captain America. That's how you get, Iron Man and Thor. And it looks good.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter that it doesn't really make too much logical sense. It doesn't need to.
No.
But you need it to... You need to imagine what a real-world cosplay of this would be that would get us to what the design is.
Mm-hmm.
To that extent, I think Eternals does a great job with this in the way that they are designed. In both the comic books and the movie, I think that Kirby did do some good design work on how he's making the armors and the superhero suits. Although I do gotta say, I'm not quite sure how I feel about Ike Harris. I don't know if you read the first issue of Eternals, but when Icarus finds... Honestly, to me, that would be just beautiful if when we get to Icarus's house, it just says Ike Harris.
Harris on the mailbox, yeah.
Yeah, and just the idea of that the way you're supposed to pronounce it is Icarus. It's not Icarus, it's actually Icarus. Which maybe that's how Jack Kirby pronounced it. No, it's Icarus. Icarus flew too close to the sun. So.
Well, I think, didn't he say that? It was either the first or second issue. I thought he said something like, oh yeah, over time, yeah, you humans kind of twisted the name a little bit. So yeah, it sounded like Icarus, even though it was Icarus. Yeah.
Oh,
I thought there was a quick line or something about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Well, but he does. Yeah, I remember it is in the first issue when we get the reveal of him. He does say,
yeah.
But it says, "Are you really Ike Harris?" Well, I am Ike Harris, but you have to say it really fast together. And that is my true name. But
you know what? I don't know, this movie. I'm just worried that it's going to be too far out there for people who haven't read comics, and just. I don't know. I had a bad feeling about Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm like, who is this going to strike a chord with people? But it did. I mean, I liked it once I saw it, and so I'm hoping that Eternals does the same thing.
Yeah, I think Eternals will do the same thing.
Okay.
I actually think what it is I do think it's going to be the anti-Guardians of the Galaxy. I think it's going to be much more. I think it's going to be like a Jack Kirby comic. It's going to be weighty. It's going to be the fate of the universe hangs in the balance, and it's also going to introduce this idea that, oh yeah, Thanos, that was a cute threat.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember that. He did a little snappy thing after people disappeared. Yeah, that was cute. Yeah. I remember when a comet hit this planet and everything died for 200 years. That was wacky, let me tell you. Yeah. I do My biggest worry about the Eternals is that they are going to try and make them separate from humanity. Because I do think that is one of the central aspects of this, that humans, Eternals, and Deviants are all the same creature, but just driven in different types of evolution.
Yeah.
Which would be a great way to introduce, what's his name? Herbert Wyndham.
Oh, the High Evolutionary.
I would love to see Herbert Wyndham in the Eternals. And the idea of, yes, evolution can take, which is an interesting idea, where the idea of what's, I think it's called evolutionary peaks, where, once you start evolving, there's lots of ways you can evolve. But like, if you take a certain path, you're going to get to a certain thing, and there's no way to get from one peak to the next. And the idea is that it's like, okay, so if all of humanity follows this linear path of evolution, what is the peak? And then what if we do this other aspect where mutations are much more common, and what is that going to look like? And it's going to be the deviants. And what are the deviants going to be? And like I said, so far all we're seeing from the deviants, except for Crow, is a monster. And I don't want them to be papier-mâché monsters. I really hope what we're going to get in this, and I think this is going to be the big twist of the film, is the deviants and the Eternals are going to be like, we're not so different, you and I.
I think, especially if they follow the comic, because if you get like further along in the comic, how was it by issue like 9 or 10? There's like two like deviants. They they meet Thena and they're like, yeah, we don't want to stay here. Yeah, this lifestyle ain't for us. Can you take us with you when you leave?
Well, yeah, that's the thing. It's like, I think that's the idea, is that you need more for these characters.
Yeah,
and I think we'll get that. That's the thing. I think, and that's probably one of the reasons why it's having bad reviews. Like, oh, they turned the monsters into human beings. Like, yes, that's what you do to make a good story.
Yeah,
that's called storytelling.
Well, like I said, I read something. They said they were getting review bombed because there's a same-sex relationship. Oh, God forbid. And again, too, there's been rumbling since the beginning because Makari, instead of a white man in the comics, is a woman of color in the movie. So,
okay,
That's
yeah, as I said, they were all pretty much white men.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, but there's going to be certain,
which was the style at the time. I'm sure Jack Kirby would tell us.
I'm just saying, there's certain sects of humanity who's going to be like, oh, there they changed that.
Well, you ever notice how they only get mad about it when it's like in certain directions and not the other? It's like I said, everyone should be mad. It's Blue Korg all over again.
Yeah.
If you did not rise up for Blue Korg, if you're not rising up for Kamala Khan with energy powers, don't sit there and look at me like, you can't make Makari a female? You can't make people of color in the Eternals? It's like, dude, there are bigger fights to fight right now, because right now they're trying to make Ms. Marvel into Purple Lantern. Are you going to stand for that, people? They painted Korg blue. You're so worried about character integrity? Explain to me a Blue Korg.
And again, in the Kirby comics, there's there's other Eternals. Like, I was reading one where the Eternals from the polar region were coming in, but they're still all white guys. It's like, oh, that makes sense. Okay, that makes sense.
Well, yeah, they actually even called it out. It's like, oh, from the polar mountains, which is very, very uncomfortable for, Jack Kirby was a Jew. I'm descendant of Nazis. But the fact of the matter is like, getting into this, there's some weird stuff going on in there that I'm like, I don't know if I want to go here, dude. You may want to go here. I don't want to go here. I want to hang out with my deviant brothers.
Again, back in the days, what was this, the 70s? It's like, I think there was still an issue there. Like, hey, can we put black people in the comics? Or all these white kids can read about black characters, and it's like, why not?
Yeah, well, you see, I don't know. I wonder with Jack Kirby on those kind of questions.
Yeah.
This is the man who created Whitewash Jones, let's not forget. So, as we walk through the Valley of the Shadow of Death, let's not overemphasize how grand and how perfect any one creator was. And so,
again, like you said earlier, Kirby did some great stuff, he did
a lot of great stuff. Family, But there is, like I say, it's a little weird when you start talking about the Eternals were the perfect extension of humanity, living atop the mountains, contemplating the cosmos, and they're all a bunch of white dudes. And down below are our deviants, who are all a bunch of crazy colors.
Yeah.
It's a little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
That, but this is what Kirby wrote, and, it's the good with the bad, and it's a product of its time, and maybe there was like this idea, don't draw black people, but it also might have been this idea that Kirby didn't even think to draw black people, because he didn't really draw black people very much.
Come on, Charlie. Come on, Charlie Esser. How many black people were in New York? Come on.
Yeah, well, and this is where I get back to that Stan Lee influence thing.
Yeah.
Because I think Stan Lee's the guy who pitches Black Panther.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think Stan Lee's the guy who says, no, they should go to Africa. And they're going to find out that there is... And, for what it's worth, I think Kirby was all down. They had lost civilization, super advanced technology. I'm down for it.
Oh, yeah, he was into that stuff, yeah.
But I don't think he would have thought to put it in Africa. I don't think he would have thought to do that, because based on other stuff he's done, I think he would have, maybe he would have put it in South America and suddenly had everyone be white in South America. That would have been his thing, but we're all products of our own time, and it's not in any way meant to impugn the decency and goodness of the man. It's just that one of the biggest things about growing as an artist is asking yourself, am I depicting something myopically? This is going way back in the day about an early Superconnectivity blog I once wrote about the Bechdel test. And it's not so much that, it's a bad film if it doesn't pass the Bechdel test. It's that if you are a writer and you're not being mindful of how other people will see things, being mindful of other people's experience, and being mindful of things like the Bechdel test, you probably are going to write a bad story, or you're going to write a story that's not going to age well, because humanity is always changing and evolving, just like the Eternals.
Again, maybe this movie will be the greatest Eternal story ever, because they took Jack Kirby's, the general idea of the Eternals is good, but they're just going to polish it up and, make it,
Yeah, no, and I think that Jack Kirby would be honored by that.
Yeah.
I think he would be very honored by people who could take his vision and take it to its next level. I don't think Jack Kirby would ever have been upset by changing genders, changing casting, even making characters gay. I don't think any of that would ever bother Jack Kirby.
No.
I think he just didn't think about it at the time, And that's always the problem. It's like, if you don't think about it, you don't think about it. So, you want to talk a couple of quick comics here?
Sure.
Want to talk Moon Knight?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
I like Moon Knight. You know why I like Moon Knight?
Tigra.
Tigra, baby!
Yeah.
I love me some tigers. My Greer Grant. Or not Greer Grant. Is it Greer Grant?
Is it
yeah,
Nelson? Or is it Greer Nelson?
Greer Nelson.
Yeah.
Greer Nelson. Greer Grant is somebody else. I think Greer Grant is the actual actress. But, it was, I like this supervillain. I don't know who this guy is. I guess he's like Jigsaw 2.0 is the idea.
Yeah, I think I'm not too familiar, but I think he might have worked for Jigsaw at one point. So yeah, I think this was like Punisher stuff. So
yeah, he's got like a Jigsaw face, but he's not Jigsaw. I like the fact that we get references back. I like the idea of Tigra and Moon Knight reconnecting after they have both had a lot of stuff happen in their lives.
Oh yeah,
and it's just like, I get it. I've had a lot of weird stuff too. Have I mentioned I have a Skrull baby? I'm a cat person. I got a half cat person, half Skrull baby, who's a Skrull and a cat person. And you're the fist that counts you. That's cool. And just the idea that, I'm deleting all your money, which first off, again, that's not how money works. Because if you hack someone's account and you do something with their money, you just say, hey, this is a guy who hacked my account and did this stuff with my money. Say, okay, well, we'll just pull that back then. Because, like, where did he move it? He moved it to another account. Okay, we'll move it back. He wasn't authorized to do it.
I know, and I love how Moon Knight's like, that money means nothing to me. He's like, no wealthy priest has ever done it. There's never been no good priest who's been wealthy. Come on.
Well, and that is true. That is true. But we actually see, and I love this because I think we're going to get a nice little relationship.
Oh yeah.
Between Greer and, which is what I'm hoping for. It's going to get this book on my pull list. You give me some Tigra, I might buy your book, friends.
Oh, nice.
And and it is, again, these people who've been through some stuff, had very different lives. Now they're reconnecting after years, and this is the person that Mark is able to take his mask off in front of.
Mm-hmm.
He's actually able to say, I can talk to you, and I feel like I need to talk to someone, and that is a beautiful thing.
Oh yeah, I mean, he just doesn't want to look at himself in the mirror. He's like, yeah, I made many mistakes. One of the biggest, letting Khonshu talk me into beating the Avengers.
Yeah, well, it was not a good day. It was not a good day, and but it happens.
But again, he's a human being. He's manipulated by a otherworldly being.
Yeah, and we still love Bucky. And all the stuff he did under mind control. That's the thing. It's like, I get the feeling like there's this, when I talk about like kung fu and hypnosis as these ultimate superpowers, I think everyone respects that in these comic book universes. Like, oh, hypnosis, yeah, man. No, I've been there.
Yeah,
I know. I know what that's like. I know how crazy that stuff is, and we can work with it.
Exactly.
Because that's the reality of that universe. And that's the thing, is like when you create a reality of a universe, people are going to react to it in different ways, and these are going to build the laws, and that's what I'm hoping we get in that She-Hulk series. I'm still waiting for it. I'm really hoping they call her She-Hulk before she has the power, because she's the one who sued the federal government over letting the Hulk destroy Harlem. That is my big dream. I hope they use it. I've been putting it out in the universe for years now. Have everyone just call her She-Hulk before she even has her power. It's because she's the one who sued to get Harlem rebuilt.
And then in was it January or February? Did you see we're getting a new She-Hulk comic series? She's back in her classic form, and they're going to do more lawyering again. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to that. I mean, honestly, I know we've got a World War She-Hulk, and that's not out yet. The final issue of World War She-Hulk.
Yeah.
But I like the fact that, and as I had said at the time, that whole, I'm a lawyer, I'm running through contract law the whole time. I knew that was going to come back. That was how she was keeping herself sane.
Yeah.
That's how she was dealing with this, because, sweetheart, Red Room, you got nothing on Gamma mental illness, and you got nothing on New York contract law. That's it. You got you think this is mind-effery. No. Let me introduce you to rent control contracts. All right, Philip. Other book I actually did get to read this week.
Oh, yes.
Amazing Spider-Man. I'm buying it because I want to buy the Beyond, but they're not putting the Beyond up here yet. I said, when Spider-Man Beyond comes out, pull that on my pull list. But like, oh, here's chapter 3 of Beyond. It's like, just call the book Spider-Man Beyond, and it's on my pull list already. Yeah, big joints.
So what did you think? Lilith and I talked to Kelly Thompson. I was like, because I even said to her, I'm like, it seems like Ben Reilly is losing Peter's memories. So I wondered.
Oh, is he?
Well, he said when he's talking to Dr. Kafka, he's talking about his Aunt May and Uncle Ben story, and he's like, my uncle said. He's like, wait a minute, I can't remember what my uncle said. So I'm just wondering at the end of this if they're going to spin out a Ben Reilly book and like try to separate him more from Peter, so he's going to lose Peter's memories. Maybe even he'll get his face messed up and get a new face or something.
Well, he's already got blonde hair.
Yeah.
I would have asked, is Maxine Danger someone we've met before?
I don't think. I mean, it sounds like a name we should have heard of, but I not ringing a bell with me.
Yeah, I mean, it might have been in the previous. What was the one where the Beyond Corporation first appears?
Oh, Mighty Avengers or whatever. Yeah.
No. The first time it appears.
Oh, was that? Is that Agents of? Was it some?
It was something, but because she does a lot of references to that in this. Broccoli men ate my homework and rabid drop bears, which we actually get to see a rabid drop bear in the background, and we see. Here's my thing. Remember my crazy fan theory that the Beyond Corporation is populated by the Beyonders who did create human forms for themselves?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, she's wearing a white jumpsuit.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to say that looks like what a Beyonder would wear.
Well, according to what I'm seeing on the internet, Charlie Esser, this is her first appearance, so...
Yeah.
Anything's possible.
With a name like Max, if you're
Max Danger,
if someone comes up and says I'm Frank Bayonne, Mephisto confirmed, my friend. Mephisto confirmed. Aunt May. I noticed we're getting our age lens on Aunt May again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They're doing a lot of resets here, Philip. The art styles are changing. I did like the May and Mary Jane scenes, and got black cats out the window.
Oh yeah,
because Pete's in a coma.
I think in the next few months, there's going to be a Death of Doctor Strange special with Ben, and I think Felicia's in it too. I don't think she's too happy with Ben, and then at some point Miles is showing up, and he's not too happy with Ben either. So,
well, because he's clearly sold out to some kind of weird, crazy corporation called the Beyond Corporation.
Oh yeah,
it's like no one is looking at this and saying this does not like everybody, like people who don't even have spider sense, their spider sense is tingling. And Ben's just like, do. I got a girlfriend now. And he faces off against Morbius because he's got a movie coming out, and yeah, he bites Ben at the end.
I see there are two outcomes: either that suit's gonna shock him or something, or like he's gonna like taste Ben's blood and be like, clone.
Clone blood, that's the worst.
Exactly. It's like water.
Welcome back, webheads. Yeah, we got our little thing. That's our fight in next episode is Morbius versus Ben Reilly. I mean, I like it. I really enjoy this series, this book. I'm looking forward to more from it, you know?
Oh, yeah. Definitely. I'm here for it.
All right, Philip, I think that's a show for one night.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah.
Philip, if people would like to reach out to us, touch us, buy stuff, maybe give us money through Patreon, where they get topless movie reviews.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to put that in the description, too.
Topless movie.
All right, so yeah, kids, if you want to get a hold of us, you can email us, capesandlunatics@gmail.com, or call the voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And again, you can find all our social medias for all the shows, the YouTube channel, like Charlie said, the Patreon. Again, please support us. It's all coming out of our own pocket now. We have no Beyond Corporation now. Or merchandise. There's all kinds of merchandise. Everything is at Linktree, linktr.ee/capesandlunatics.
And of course, you can always write to me in that old-fashioned email way, the way our mothers and fathers once did, at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, at gmail.com. And follow me on the Twitter as I live tweet Stargirl, which we did not even talk about. Or Legends of Tomorrow, which we didn't talk about, but both were good. At Charlie Esser, that's CharlieEsser. Look for the two E's in the middle.
For quality. Bing!
Thank you, Maz.
Oh, we might have to talk Stargirl next week on Capes, maybe, because I believe this one coming up is the finale. The season finale.
The finale, yeah. Well, we will talk it along with everything else. And the Eternals movie review.
Yes. Because
no one else wanted to talk about it.
Well, at least a little Hellfire. I'll see if I can get us any guests. But yeah, no little Hellfire.
Well, you know.
I know.
It's okay. I think it's going to be great. I think And she'll be kicking herself the day after.
Exactly.
Saying, why am I insane that I didn't see it? That's the music. I like this song, Philip. It makes me happy.
So yeah, in 1 week, Superconnectivity 366, the Eternals review.
Only 3 more and then Lilith will show up.
Oh, yeah! So yeah, come back for the Eternals movie next time.
Yep. Now I gotta watch that film.
Me too.
Good night.
The swamp. More than merely a place. It is a churning, seething, bubbling bed of life, of which you are a part. Once you were a man, a chemist named Ted Salas, until one little experiment went somewhat awry. And you changed. The serum that was to have made you a super soldier, combined with the strange forces in the swamp, to make you over into this, a shambling, mindless mockery of your former humanity. The macabre Man-Thing. Man-Thing was created in the early 1970s to capitalize on the growing monster craze, but under writer Steve Gerber it became something quite different. Experimental, surreal, and very, very weird. It was something I loved as a kid, but does it still hold up today, 4 decades after its initial publication? So join me, Paul Matthew Carr, as I attempt to make sense of this cult classic and analyze each issue, putting it in the context of the time it was written and comparing it to the standards of today. And maybe you too can come to love the world's second most famous swamp-based comic book character as much as I do. The Nexus of All Realities, a Man-Thing podcast, a twice-monthly dive into the bizarre.